All right, fight fans, you guys understand how big this fight is. I got one of the guys joining me right now, one of the top middleweights in the world, Chris Eubank Jr. Welcome to the show, Chris.
The top middleweight in the world, son. Come on.
Listen, you know what's interesting? I spent a lot of time in London and on your side of the pond, and one of the things that I've experienced is fighters being gentlemen, right? They don't talk too much smack, but it's interesting. You and Conor are different. You guys remind me of Americans when it comes to talking trash. You got slick mouths, and I guess it runs in the family because you got your father and his also did the same. But the difference is you were actually about a year old the first time the rivalry started with Benn Eubank. And I guess for the rematch, you're around maybe 3-4 years old. Do you remember anything about that time, at least in the second fight? I know not the first, but the second fight. Do you remember anything?
Yeah, I remember. I remember the tension. I remember the feeling. In all these big fights, but especially that one. Even as a kid, you just felt that things were different around the house, right. And obviously, the injuries and the aftermath of the fight, the second fight, especially, you watch that, you watch your father having to, be nursed back to health, and, those fights took a lot out of him. So yeah, that, seeing that, and obviously then, learning more about the fight as I got older, watching the build up and, Nigel Benn telling my dad he hated him on national TV, and the true bad blood that was really a part of that fight. More so on Ben's side, because my father's like me. He's very he doesn't let people get to him emotionally. He doesn't stoop to that level. But obviously Ben, he was full of hatred, and that's always stuck with me. And that's I can't really forgive stuff like that, because my old man was a good man. There was no reason for Ben to be the way he was to him. So I've got a responsibility now to uphold that family name and to make sure that Nigel doesn't avenge that loss to his son, because that's what this is his shot now. This is his chance to redeem himself.
At what point did you become aware of Conor? Meaning, both of you became aware of each other and started thinking, because of that rivalry, we're going to have to meet at some point. When did that start?
I mean, listen, as soon as he turned pro, as soon as he came onto the scene, it wasn't like a thing like, I got to fight him now, but it was like, yeah, this eventually we're probably going to cross paths. I mean, there's too much history, there's too much interest, So in the back of my mind, I always knew we were going to fight. I just didn't know when. And to be honest, I wasn't expecting it to be this soon. But he's got himself to a stage and a position in his career where, he has the fans, he has the hype. He can physically make the weight now. He walks around close to the same weight as I do. He just cuts that before fights. For this fight, he doesn't have to cut anything.
Do you give him credit for his rapid, I guess, success? Because he has, to your point, gained a lot of fans. Even over here in America, people like his energy and what he brings to a fight. Does anything about him impress you?
He's walking the same path that I walked, and I know how hard that is.
Okay. So you at least give him credit for that, like being under a shadow, having to create your own legacy.
Nobody, very few people on the planet will ever have to do what me and him are doing, and that's, going into the hardest sport in the world, and not only having to make it in that sport, but having to make it behind a legend. Who you will always be compared to. That type of pressure is it's just it's an unknown to everybody on the planet except a few people, and it's tough, you know.
Yeah, well, I mean, most fighters, most sons break under that pressure. You think about the Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. and Hector Camacho's son. They can't handle that pressure. You know, you guys, especially you, have exceeded that. Talking to everybody out there, people are saying that this is going to be one of the biggest fights in British history. I'm talking about big, right? Where it might even be that when it comes to pay-per-view sales. Do you understand the magnitude of this fight? Like, has it hit you yet?
You know, I knew it was going to be big, but you know how it's, you know, the hype around this, even now, even we're still 6.5 weeks out. You know, this fight was on the front cover of Boxing News magazine before it was even made.
Right. Just the potential of it being made.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's huge. I didn't think I knew it was gonna be big, but I'm impressed with how big it's becoming.
All right, now, you know, when it comes to the weight, Chris, obviously you're going to get the bad end of the stick when it comes to what's fair, who has the edge here, right? Because people know that obviously Conor's coming up to a weight class that he's never participated in. You're comfortable in that weight. I mean, you have to drop a little something. Does that worry you? Like, if I beat Conor, I'm not going to get the credit I deserve because of the weight issue?
I don't care about credit. No one's ever given me credit. I'm one of those guys, you know, it doesn't matter what I do, I'm going to have an army of haters and trolls talking shit and not giving me credit. So I stopped worrying about credit years ago, you know.
So who do you care about? Who do you want credit of? Like, what's important to you? Like, who do you want to make proud outside of your father? Like, who are the people in the sport that you care about their opinion?
Absolutely nobody. Nobody. I could not care less about anybody's opinion. People's opinions do
except Akim Barak, folks. Except Akim Barak. Go ahead.
People's opinions do not pay my light bills.
No doubt.
They do not. They're not going to put, you know, my future kids through school. They're not gonna get me the properties I want.
Yeah, but I hear that. That sounds good. But at some point, your peers, somebody in this sport that we love so dearly, has to mean something. You know, like for instance, you know, when I sat down with Jim Lampley on an interview one day, and after the interview said, "Wow, that was a great interview." That felt good because this is a guy that, you know, that have done it for so many years. Is it like nobody? Roy Jones Jr. All right. If Roy is proud of you, you care.
Of course.
All right then. So that's somebody.
No, I mean, I would love for Roy to be proud of me, but and you know, as far as I know, he is proud of me so far with what I've done. So is my father. But I'm not. You can't. I mean, some fighters may be doing the things they're doing to kind of try and impress other people.
Right.
I stopped that a long time ago because I learned very quickly that it doesn't matter what you do or how well you do it, you're never going to please everybody.
Very true.
You just never, it's never going to happen. So I years and years ago, I stopped worrying about people's opinions and I just worried about me and what I thought was best and my progress in life. Obviously, if people are happy with what I'm doing, then that's a bonus. Right. But you know, the people that aren't happy with what you're doing, they are also bonuses. The people that hate you, the people that troll you, the people that don't believe in you, they are still buying their pay-per-view package.
They're still contributing to the cause.
They're still waiting in the crowd. They're still paying for their ticket.
So you need them too. You need them too.
Absolutely, you need them. You have to have them.
Listen, Conor says that your ego was really getting in the way of the negotiations for this fight, to the point where maybe it wouldn't have happened. What do you say to that?
It's not about ego. It's about being an astute businessman. I'm not going to give up ground that I don't have to give up. Right. I'm going to take everything I can get. If I, you know, obviously there is, it's business. There's, you know, you have to negotiate, you have to compromise, but I'm going to get the best deal I can get. That's not ego. That's being a smart businessman.
How serious are you when you say if you lose this fight, you're done with boxing. I mean, you're only
Finish.
32 years old. You're still very athletic.
Finish.
Are you serious about that?
Absolutely. My father retired at 32.
Okay, what if, Chris, what if it's a competitive hell of a fight? I'm talking about a historic fight and people want to see it again. You would walk away from that if you didn't get the nod?
Obviously, if by some miracle this guy is able to pull out, a competitive fight that edge a win, or make it so that I have to fight out of my skin to beat him,
right,
then obviously we're gonna get the rematch on. But I just don't see that happening. If he beats me, convincingly, which is an impossibility, but if he does it,
you're done.
I have to walk away because I can't hold my head. I can't be respected. I can't be a man and walk into gyms anymore.
Now, before we get out of here, you're obviously very confident in this Conor Benn fight. I'm excited about the fight. I can't wait to touch down, boots on the ground, and witness this massive event. If you do get past Benn, I want Chris to give me his next 3 opponents lined up. If you were your own promoter and you controlled everything, who do you fight next if you get past Benn? Next 3 opponents.
I want Golovkin next. Get those belts, and then I would love to fight Canelo. Absolutely. He's the marquee name in the sport, and that's the one fight I would go up to super middleweight for. So Canelo 2023. Throw Jake Paul in there with me. I'll take 10, 15 million to beat up a YouTuber. Happy to.
All right, there you have it. Listen, you don't want to miss it. October 8th, Chris Eubank Jr., Conor Benn. I'm excited and good luck, man. Hope all goes well in camp and see you in London.
All right, appreciate it, man.
Easy, man.